sad about it. But I fear if I keep it playing in the background, then we won't be able to focus in on what we're here about and want to make sure you guys get all the information possible about these programs. So thanks so much for joining live, everybody. I'm Taylor Faulkner. I'm a program director in the School of Professional Studies at UNC Charlotte. Tonight, I'm excited to walk you through three different programs that we've built specifically for folks that are in the HR and L&D sector. So over the next little bit, I'm going to be covering what each of these programs includes, who they're for, the costs, how to enroll, all that good stuff. And I will leave plenty of time at the end for questions, but certainly if there's a burning question or something related comes up, please feel free to drop it in the chat. If I don't get to it right away, I will make sure to circle back on that. So and then, of course, at the end, I'm going to share a special discount code for those of you that did join live. So you will have to stick with me for that at the end. And then we'll also email the recording out if you need to refer back to any of this information. So with that, I'll kick us off. As I mentioned, there's three programs that I'm going to be highlighting today. So you can kind of think of these as three different doors within the same house, if you will. So the first program that I'm going to talk about is our HR professional certificate. And Alyssa has done that program. So Alyssa, you can drop something in the chat about the program and how it went for you. But the core HR competencies are covered in this program across the employee life cycle. So it's 10 courses, 70 hours. You do get to chip at that slowly but surely or accelerated. There's some flexibility there. So we've got online, meaning live online and self-paced, and we also have a few in-person options for those that are more in-person people. Um, Again, those topics will kind of dive into that a little bit more, but it's going to be recruiting, labor and law, employee engagement, leadership, those type of things. So, and again, these courses are just constantly being offered. You'll have to look at what's available in our schedule online to really see that breakdown. So that's why it says rolling admission. So that's again, quick snapshot, and then we'll go more in depth. But in the middle here, we have the learning and the development certificate. So again, similar model here with 10 courses. This one's about designing and delivering training. So if your job is about teaching other people how to be better at their jobs, this is your track. We have live online and we just started adding some self-paced options. Actually, just this past month, we added our first. So we'll continue adding self-paced options to both the HR certificate and the learning and development certificate. We've been getting some good feedback on that one there. So, and then lastly, the HR certification exam prep program. So this one is a little bit different in structure. It's a single focused 12-week live online course built to get you ready for your SHRM or HRCI exam. So again, we'll go through each of these in depth, but we have a spring and a fall admission for the exam prep, and the one coming up this fall starts September 14th. So that one's coming up quick if you're considering that program. So again, getting a little bit deeper into each of these, the HR professional certificate is a comprehensive program. Again, we're covering recruitment, compensation, labor relations, employee engagement, going through that full life cycle. So I'd say this program is really built for new HR entrants. It can be for folks working in HR already and they just want to start to dive in deeper into specific functions. And then certainly for career changers, there are no prerequisites for this program. And then our learning and development certificate, again, it's competency based. It's built around two frameworks that the L&D field use quite frequently, the ATD competency and the ADDIE. It's an instructional design model. So you'll get into those two models in depth, but this one's for aspiring trainers, folks that are already in training that just they want some professional development to improve their skill sets, instructional designers, and then also there's the HR folks that end up moving into the L&D lane. So, I'm sure there's a few department of one or the person that wears all of the hats and you're in HR and you're doing the training and all the things. Um, so both of these programs would be a good fit for you, and I'll talk a little bit about the stackability between the two as well. So, and again, no prerequisites. You don't have to have any prior experience. You can already be in an L&D role, or um, you can be transitioning. All right. And then our exam prep is a little bit narrower by design, right? It's exam readiness. That is what we are all about with this program. It's a full stop. We do teach to all four of the HR exams. So both of the SHRM, both of the HRCI. No prerequisites to take this course. However, I am going to add the caveat that if you aren't already in an HR role, I definitely recommend getting that foundational experience and knowledge before jumping into the exam because it's no joke. And then, of course, SHRM and HRCI, they have their own eligibility rules. So definitely be sure to check that out on their websites before you register for the actual exam that you sit to take. But our course, again, is a one-stop shop to help you prepare to pass it on the first try. Oh, and the other thing that I wanted to mention here is that for the first time, the September cohort that's coming up, HRCI is offering our students a complimentary timed and untimed practice exam bundle, which is a $150 value. They're also offering our students a $100 discount on the exam fee. So that is a brand new bonus that HRCI, we've partnered with them, and they've reached out to give that added value to our students. So definitely want to make sure I mention that because that is huge. All right, I'm gonna pause and make sure nothing is going on in the chat. Let's see. Thank you, Alyssa, dropping in a little bit about the HR professional certificate. I appreciate you. Thank you. All right. So, what makes each program unique? Okay, so the HR certificate is it's the only one of the three that we offer a few in-person ones. So again, if you're that in-person person or you feel like your employer would support sending you to some in-person trainings for the day, we do run select courses at the Dubois Center, our uptown location in Charlotte, if you prefer that face-to-face. I'd also say that this certificate has like the broadest curriculum of the three. And we do have some optional add-on courses for this certificate, so I'll talk about that in a moment. That L&D certificate, it's the program that's built around a little more, it's kind of got one foot in HR and one foot in instructional design, and that makes the best of the L&D right there. So I also want to highlight that it also includes a virtual training delivery. So if you have to run trainings on Zoom or on Teams, like we all probably have had to be a part of in some capacity within the last few years, that one is definitely a big hit in that program. And then lastly, the exam prep, again, it's structured. We hold you accountable. This one is live online for that very reason. The class is every Monday night, and so we give you that full study toolkit, practice exams, flashcards. We have an AILM notebook that you're provided in that program. We give you the full works, and our instructor for this is an expert. She has helped hundreds and hundreds of students pass their HR exams. And so, again, meeting with you live for 12 weeks, once a week, is how we just keep everybody honest, hold you accountable, and make sure that you're going to pass it that first time. You don't have to keep paying that exam fee. All right. So the program formats for the HR professional certificate, because we have a few more self-paced options, the quickest you could complete that one is in 4 months, and that is if you mix and match your modalities, meaning you take a few online, a few in person, a few self-paced. If you're okay with mixing and matching, you can get it done within 4 months. Now, if you're totally a live online person, um, It's going to take you a little bit longer based on the availability of courses, but most people finish within a year or less. So again, 3 of the 10 are asynchronous. We add more every single semester, and we do have some courses that are in person at the Dubois Center. Same thing really with the learning and development. About a year is typically when folks finish that one. And again, we're adding more self-paced based on the demand, meeting people where they're at, those that have super busy schedules and they gotta feed the kids dinner and then get online to work on it a little bit and then get the kids up for breakfast, work on it a little bit, go to work, that type of thing. So it offers a little bit more flexibility. And then, as I mentioned, the HR exam prep, it is a fixed cohort. You're with the same people for 12 weeks. Every Monday night, you're together live online. And so there is a little bit of work in between each class. Again, just getting some practice questions between each session or rereading certain concepts and practice questions. But for the most part, we're doing it all right there in that live online session every Monday night. All right, so a few of the topics, kind of digging into that. As I mentioned, the HR certificate has 10 required courses. You can take these in any order you want. So I know it starts with the essentials. Our schedule has essentials of human resources at the beginning. But if your schedule, life happens and you can't jump in until labor and law, totally okay. You can just plug away at the 10, as you see fit and whatever works with your schedule. So those are the list of topics that we cover with the HR certificate there. Similarly, the L&D certificate also has 10 required courses. And what you'll notice, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, is that there's 7 unique L&D courses, but we do have 3 HR courses that are a part of the 10 required for L&D. So that's where that stackability kind of comes in, especially if you are the department of one or you're someone having to do both L&D and HR functions. So those of you that have already taken the HR certificate, for example, you would only need to take 7 more courses to complete the L&D certificate because you got credit for these 3. And these topics, by the way, are very applicable no matter what your function is. I mean, leadership for hybrid teams, change management, that's never going to go out of style, and generational and cultural impact to business. So while they're technically HR courses, definitely applicable to folks in the L&D space as well. And then lastly here, again, we are going to get you ready for this exam. So 12 classes. I mentioned you get LM Notebook access for summarizing information. We have digital flashcards. You can practice on your phone in between meetings or what have you, study guides, and it all just culminates in exam day readiness. We also have exam discounts available for students, as I mentioned, with HRCI. So this is kind of what that breakdown looks like for each program as far as the content and the courses go. And then I also want to mention, if you want to dig a little bit further, this information is definitely on our website as far as the course descriptions and the learning outcomes. But you can also take these individually. It's not like you have to commit to the full certificate. If you just want to dip your toe in or you're nervous about committing to a full certificate, you certainly can take individual courses. And those are going to be 285 each if you're doing it one by one by one. Okay. And I'll talk a little bit more about pricing, but I did want to just call out that, I know sometimes the certificate can feel intimidating, but once you get that first course done, you're just going to want to plug through them and roll through to build up to that larger certificate, because that's where you get your digital badge in the full certificate. All right. Okay, so I mentioned a little bit about add-on courses. So this one just launched in June. So brand new. Our first group of students are finishing out the pilot of this course. And so this one is all about transitioning your skills into HR and L&D roles. I'm going to talk about another course, but these 2 add-on options, they were designed further customize your learning and your experience. However, I'll also add that they could be great courses as an entry point. So again, if you want to start small and then build up, it's another great professional development goal for the year. Especially if you're someone that's a career changer, you're unsure, you're like, what even is HR? What do they do every day? This can be a really great entry point for you to dig into what that would look like for you. So in this add-on course, we do have a live mock interview practice and live resume feedback with our coach. Again, it's all about translating the skills that you have. I know a lot of teachers are taking advantage of this program or this course, and there's so much that can be transferred into these industries. So, again, understanding what entry and mid-level roles actually involve, and you get to leave with a networking plan and a job search. So, a job search kind of plan. So, definitely take advantage of that. This one's a little bit smaller than our typical courses. It's 5 hours self-paced, do it at your own time. And again, you have that option to meet with the coach live to get that resume feedback and that live mock interview practice. With this one, you also get HRCI and SHRM credits as well as ATD credit and a digital badge. And they're a little bit cheaper as far as the price goes. So they're $195 and they can be taken as an add-on to your certificate, or if you want to make this that entry point, you can do that. So that is from skills to people strategy. Our other add-on course that we just launched this summer is from specialist to strategist. So this one is the other end of the spectrum. The first course is for folks that are looking to transition, want to learn how to get their foot in the door. This one is for people that are kind of already in HR and L&D and they're ready to move into that leadership seat. So HR business partner, HR director, those are the type of roles that you're gunning for. This course covers data-driven workforce decisions, aligning your function with business strategy and change management. Also approved for the same credit, so similar where you're going to get the digital badge. You've got that self-paced, flexible option to dig through, and a live optional session with the instructor to just dig into these topics a little bit more further. And what I've loved so far about this first group is a lot of them for their final project are picking an actual situation or problem in their workplace, working through that using data and how to influence and storytelling behind the data. And they're going to be able to take that with them to that interview, to their supervisor when they're ready for that next step. So it's been really cool to see this first group kind of move through these assignments. And the best part too about it is these a lot of times these folks have already taken their HR exam, and you have to recertify every 3 years if you didn't already know that. And so oftentimes the options to recertify can get expensive, and we've tried to keep this one affordable too at that $195 price. So that is a great option if you're up for recertification. And you really can't beat it, y'all. I may be biased, but you can't beat that price. So those are two optional add-on courses. Again, you can take them to start and dip your toe in, or you can just go ahead and add that on to the full certificate to further kind of customize your learning experience. So some things that you'll gain. What are you going to get out of this? Let's talk a little bit about money, right? So some of the folks that have completed our programs, particularly the HR certificate up first, they have gone on to work at Bank of America, Lowe's, Atrium Health, Wells Fargo. And so some of their titles include HR manager, generalist, director, or specialist. Alyssa, I know you're on here. I'm picking on you a little bit. You can drop your title in the chat if you want to, too, right? We have an alum with us. So the average annual wage is in the 80,000 mark for folks that are in these type of roles at this level. And so our L&D grads, employers include Coca-Cola, Home Depot, REI, Trane Technologies. And so those titles are going to be L&D specialist, talent acquisition consultant, And similar to HR, in the $82,000 range is the average. And lastly, as you can see here with the HR certification exam prep, similar employers, but again, those titles are going to be HR director, VP of HR business partner. And so you can see that there is that average climbs to over 100,000, which tells you a lot about what a credential does for your ceiling. And a little bit about the industry. We've pulled this from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. There were some really great reports from SHRM and ATD, so I've kind of cited those there. So don't take my word for it. This is what the broader labor market data says. But you can see here that there's going to be like 944,000 HR specialist jobs in the US. That's how many there are. There's a 6% projected growth through 2034, which is pretty faster than the average right now compared to other occupations. And again, the median for the entire industry, you're looking at 140,000. So not too shabby, if you ask me. And moving into L&D, we've got 11% job growth there. Um, so again, much faster than the average job growth. This wage is looking at 65,000 range here, and a 2.9% of revenue is now invested in L&D, which is the highest share that it's been in the last 5 years. So companies are really starting to put real money behind L&D. And lastly, talking about industries, 14 to 15% of folks from the SHRM research have reported a higher salary compared to their non-certified peers. And over 100,000 employers recognize the SHRM certification worldwide. So that is definitely not a small signal to put on your resume. I know HRCI has some similar outcomes, but SHRM had a really great report that we wanted to highlight there. See if I'm missing anything in the chat. Oh, Michael is taking care of it. Thank you so much. Okay. Yep, I will be talking about how to sign up for the SHRM class. It's a goodie. And right now I'm currently a management analyst. Yep. And applying for the generalist and specialist roles. Excellent. Congratulations. That's awesome. Okay, so a little bit about what our alumni said. Luckily, you've had an alumni here. Again, I've been picking on her, but for the HR professional certificate, we've had alumni say that the program really helped them network extensively, give them the relevant and real world knowledge that helped them get their foot in the industry. That's half the battle, folks. Getting your foot in the door, right? We are all on the LinkedIn. We're all going to the lunch and learns. But really getting some face time with folks is critical. And I always say that in the first class. I always try to say, link up with each other on LinkedIn, go to the lunch and learns, get coffee together, right? Network is everything. That's what lands you the job ultimately. And for the learning and development certificate, we have alumni say that the course has really expanded their knowledge of designing effective training, and they've applied the core principles to build and evaluate real programs. And lastly, for our HR certification exam prep, this alumni says that they would not have passed their SHRM exam without this prep course, and that they use every single resource from the slides to the handouts to the flashcards. And boy, do we supply you with some resources. We definitely help you break those resources down so you're not overwhelmed, but you've got all the goodies. And listen, you can go on AI and ChatGPT all day, and it can come up with quiz questions and whatever, but there is nothing like being with a cohort of 40 other people that have the same shared goal as you. And our expert coaches helped hundreds of students pass that exam. There really is nothing like that. It's invaluable. So, and speaking of the people that will be teaching you, you're definitely not learning from a textbook. You're learning from real people who are doing this work. They are HR and L&D professionals themselves. They're practitioners. So you can kind of get a snapshot of some of their bios here. Aaron has 15 plus years in compensation and benefits. Granger is an employment law attorney who represents employers in complex litigation. We've got Nicole who teaches in multiple programs. And if you haven't seen Nicole, she's doing a webinar for us next month. She is absolutely vibrant and excellent. She is a student favorite. Um, so I won't read all of these to you for the sake of time, but we definitely have got some really great people. I'm so lucky that we have these type of folks a part of our program that have been helping students for years now. So you can read more about them on the website as well. All right. So now to the financial investment. The HR professional certificate is $2,422 for the full bundle. So that's when you bundle all 10 courses together. That's going to save you over $400 compared to just paying course by course by course. But some folks prefer to pay as you go, and you can kind of see the pay as you go as a payment plan. And that's going to be $285 per course if you want to do that one at a time. L&D certificate, same structure there. We do have several discounts, folks that are members of associations. And again, I actually have a slide on that. So let me pause. I was getting a little ahead of myself. The HR exam prep program is $1,149 for the full 12-week course. We do have a formal payment plan available with that since it is a cohort. So you can reserve your seat with a $500 deposit and just pay down that balance as the program goes on. So a little bit of flexible options for there. I will say that with the exam prep, because it's starting in about a month, I wouldn't wait too long. I think we have about, I think it was 10 to 15 seats left out of a 40 group cohort. So it's every day I'm seeing some enrollments come in, and I wouldn't wait too long on that one because it is that a fixed group. Otherwise, you'll have to wait until the spring. And I'd hate that for anyone that took the time to come out today. All right. Oh, and then as I mentioned too, I don't want to miss this. They can be taken individually. So you don't have to commit to the full certificate to take our courses. If you want to dip your toe in, you can pay the 285 and plug along at your leisure. So okay, now a little bit of the payment options and kind of how to enroll. We definitely try to make paying and that financial investment as flexible as we can for folks. You can do the bundle and save, pay as you go. Those are the two options that I just covered, going course by course. You can look into external loan options, and our enrollment specialists are great about working with folks that are seeking that. We also have some employer-funded templates on our program pages. So if you're thinking, you know what, I bet my supervisor would support me going through this professional development. It'll help me and help the organization or the company. We have some ready-made templates of letters that you can use when you're requesting that assistance from your employer. So definitely be sure to check those out and utilize those. And then if you're a current or a former degree student here at UNC Charlotte, we do have a discount for y'all. We also have a discount for all of our faculty and staff, and that professional association discount, as I mentioned. So if you're already in ATD or SHRM or HRCI, ask us about that discount because we do offer that. Now, you can't stack discounts, so keep that in mind. The discount that is the highest is the one that we'll take for you. And honestly, y'all, if you've got a specific situation, feel free to email me or call. Same with our enrollment team. We're happy to walk you through it one-on-one if you've got a particular circumstance. All right. Now, if there's any other remaining questions, I am getting towards the end here. Please feel free to add those in the chat. I'm going to go over some frequently asked questions while y'all are adding stuff to the chat. Again, I'll run through these, but do I need HR experience? No, you don't need HR experience. You don't need L&D experience. For any of the programs. Again, I gave you that caveat with the exam prep. If you're not already in HR, it's going to be really hard to wrap your brain around preparing for this exam. So I recommend starting with the HR certificate or getting some foundational knowledge before doing that, but we don't have any formal prerequisites. You can take the courses individually. Is the exam prep a certificate like the HR and L&D certificate? It's not a certificate. It is an exam prep program. So it is a 12-week cohort. We're getting you ready for the exam. Now, while it's not a certificate, we have implemented a digital badge. So you will walk away with a digital badge after completing that program. The difference between HR and L&D, HR really builds broad generalist and administrative skills. So again, that recruiting, compensation, labor law. L&D is going to focus more on training delivery, instructional design, and that type of thing. Unless you're the Department of One and you have to do it all. And bless your heart is what I'll say to that. How fast can you finish? It depends on your schedule, right? We do have some self-paced options that accelerate your time to complete. Most learners will finish within a few months up to a year. And that exam prep, you're definitely going to finish in 12 weeks because it's a fixed cohort. If you can't make it to a course, if life happens, you sign up for something, things change. Attendance is a requirement, right? But if you can't attend, we work with folks. We'll transfer you to the next available section. We'll give you some options. We're going to work with you. We understand life happens. So don't let the hustle and bustle and the busyness of life scare you or prevent you from investing in yourself. All right. Which program is right for you? I've covered 3 today. If you're somebody that is trying to build up your skills from the ground up, you're going to want to look at the HR professional certificate. So if you want to master that employee life cycle, hiring, employee engagement, you want to get a credential that employers are going to recognize, start here with that HR professional certificate. If you are somebody that is responsible for training or upskilling the workforce, or you aspire to do that, right? That's a goal or a dream job of yours. Then you will certainly want to start off with that L&D certificate. And lastly, if you're somebody that's already in HR, you are ready to make that ceiling climb for you, you're ready to prove it with a credential, and you're ready to sit down and take that exam, we've got your back and we are going to get you ready. All right. So I'm going to check the chat if there's any questions, but I do want to say here that I appreciate all of you that were able to attend live with me. Again, I'm Taylor Faulkner. I'm the program director for these programs. So if anything I covered raised a question or you think about it after you click off, again, ask me now, email me afterwards. But because you did join live with us today, it is worth something to us. And we do have a time limited code for you. You will get 10% off enrollment in any of these 3 programs by using this code. Take a screenshot, write it down on a sticky note. If you register within 14 days of today's session using that code. It is all uppercase HRLD info. And again, if you need some help actually processing that enrollment, the discounts giving you any trouble, our enrollment team is amazing. They would be happy to help you apply that, and their contact information is up there on the screen. So let me see if there's anything in the chat. Okay, do you need to purchase textbooks? No textbooks required. We give you all of the materials that you are going to need. It's included with the price. So no additional material or textbook purchases with these. Is the HRCI timed and Untuned bundle available for the spring course or just the upcoming fall? It will be available for spring as well. Fall is just the first group that's going to get to take advantage of that. So let's see. It seems like that was all the questions that came in. Some of the different backgrounds you've seen students bring into these programs. Well, that's a good question. I did kind of mention my teachers earlier, those that are wanting to move into a different space and a different role. So teachers are certainly one of them. I mean, frankly, I've seen people that don't know one thing about HR or L&D, and they just take that next step and that leap and dive in. And I've also seen folks that maybe do one function of HR. Maybe they're only responsible for employee relations, and they're like, you know what, it's been a while since I've brushed up on employment law. That'd be a really good professional development goal for me. I've seen some folks like that. I've seen folks that a lot of times, you know what it is? People that just accidentally stumble into HR and L&D, that they didn't, that wasn't the plan, they didn't go to school for that, or they're in an HR role and then someone says, you know what, you're so good at HR, you would be also really good at training all the employees too. Would you mind taking over the training? We'll give you a title and a job, a pay increase, whatever, that type of thing. But most of the backgrounds that I've seen are accidental. So you may have missed it. When did the HR certificate? The HR certificate courses, they're already rolling and starting up. So our self-paced ones are available almost all the time, year round. Our live online ones are going to start back up here in a few weeks in September. But if you're interested in self-paced, they're open and you can start plugging away at it today. And September is when our live online, early September, when they start ramping back up. Same with the L&D. 9 years experience as an HR coordinator. Do I think I have the qualifications to sit for the HRCI exam? Well, so you, as far as qualifications go, you definitely want to check the HRCI website of what the eligibility requirements are. Um, but as far as do you have enough experience to start being serious about the exam and getting ready, preparing yourself? 9 years as an HR coordinator, that's impressive. That's not just, that's nothing to, you know, just blink an eye at. So I think if you've been thinking about it and you feel ready and you're ready to take that next step, I definitely would say 9 years of experience in HR is certainly someone that would be ready for that next step. But as far as the qualifications, you want to check the exam websites. Yeah. Mhm. And that's the other thing. You don't have to be like the HR business partner. You don't have to be in that mid or senior level role to be ready for the exam. I have seen some people that are in more of the entry level. They do that for a few years and then they feel like they're ready to roll and take that exam. So don't get too hung up on titles. Don't get too hung up on that. 9 years. I'm impressed. All right. I know I went through some of that pretty quick, but I'm still here. You are so welcome. Hang on for a few more minutes if anyone else has some questions. Oh, let me put my email back in the chat since it's not on the screen for anyone that would like to connect. And I would love to connect with you on LinkedIn. I know I mentioned networking earlier. If we're not connected, let's connect. All right. Thank you. Okay, if someone is attending tonight, is interested but isn't quite sure that they're ready to enroll, what would you recommend as their next step? If you're not sure if you're ready to roll, I think you really need to think about like what's holding you back. Is it the financial investment? Is it the time investment? What is it that's really holding you back? And know that you're going to have support in our programs, no matter what that is. You got to find out what those barriers are, um, and just take that next leap. You deserve professional development. You deserve to take that next step and invest in you and your career. And that's what I always appreciate working with these students and these folks. These are all people that have busy lives. Most of them have kids, families, other responsibilities. And it's hard. I mean, there's no doubt about it, but it doesn't hold them back. And so I really, really admire that about our students. How long until payment is due from the time we register for the SHRM prep class? So our enrollment team will be able to give you better dates on when those payments are going to be due. There, it's very, very clear. The communication is forward from the moment you put down your deposit and you decide you want to enroll. But if you'd like to shoot them an email, or here's their email on the screen right here, or send them a call, they can kind of give you a little bit better of what those deadlines are. But essentially, you're paying through it within that 12 weeks. So just know if you put down the 500, the rest of it you're paying off over the 12 weeks. And they'll work with you on that. So as long as it's paid off by the end of the 12 weeks, you're good to go. Is it beneficial to take both the HR professional cert course and the exam prep course? I wouldn't take them at the same time, personally. I I think you'll overwhelm yourself, especially with the exam prep. That is a rigorous test, and therefore our program is going to be rigorous because we have to get you ready to pass that on the first try, right? So it depends on where you're at within your HR career. If you feel like you could build up a little bit more of that employee life cycle, that foundation, and some of that background knowledge, you've got to have that foundation before you step up and take that next exam. So if you're a little bit earlier on, I would say do that HR certificate, get that credential, get that certificate under your belt. And then honestly, many of our students that have done the HR certificate, they do feel ready once they've completed that and they've got a little bit of work experience. And then they're ready to go ahead and take that exam. And we do provide discounts for our certificate alumni as well. So I would not take them at the same time. I think it would be quite overwhelming if I'm being honest. I'm just trying to look out for you. I could tell you that, yeah, go ahead and take both of them, but if I'm being honest, I would pace yourself and try one at a time. Do you have any advice for the ones who are wanting to step into the HR professional field? I want to register for the exam prep course, but don't have the experience yet. Yeah, let me make sure I understand the question. Have any advice for the ones who are wanting to step in? Well, I think it depends on if you have made up your mind. Are you like, I am committed to going into HR? This is what I want to do. I've done my research. I've figured out some of the functions that I might be interested in. Um, then I would jump into that HR certificate and get your foundation. Get your foundation set that I keep telling y'all. Because if you jump in on that first day in the exam prep class and you don't have some, because we're not going to cover HR concepts in the exam practice, right? We're not going to be covering the functions in detail. You already have to know some of those functions and have some experience because now we have to take that step up and we have to be able to answer complex test questions and scenarios related to law. A lot of the test questions are scenario based. And so if you don't have that basic foundation, it's going to be really hard. Especially in that first class, you're going to be like, whoa, 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 what did I sign myself up for? What did I get myself into? So I would say if you're wanting to step into it, and you kind of have an idea of where you want to go, um, and you're ready for that foundational knowledge, I would recommend the HR certificate program. If you have no idea and you're like, I just feel stuck. I don't want to be doing what I'm doing right now forever. HR sounds like it could be good for me. I feel like I have skills that I can transfer in. I honestly would recommend the add-on course first because that course is going to talk about um, what the HR functions are, what the jobs actually look like from a day-to-day basis. And you're going to get that resume feedback. You're going to get a live interview, a mock interview practice with our coach. So I would say that add-on course, if you're just like, I feel stuck, I think I want to do HR, but I have no idea what I want to do in HR, and I need to learn a little bit more about what that actually is, what that entails. I would try taking that. And that course number is HRT 136 if you're looking at our website there. And again, I can't say this enough, is network, network, network. If you are not already going to the monthly SHRM meetings, wherever there's local chapters, right? And HRCI meetings, the ATD lunch and learns that they have. I know here, I can speak for Charlotte at least. Start going, start booking those on your calendar and attending so people can put faces to names. And when someone has a job opening that comes up, they're going to think about you, right? It's really more about who you know. Thank you, Michael. Because LinkedIn is not enough. LinkedIn is great. I love the LinkedIn. Y'all are going to see me post on there. I hope we can connect, but it's not enough. You got to get your name and your face out there. So that would be some non-course, non-educational advice that I would give. Hope that helps. Of course. Alright. Any other questions? Not seeing any. Hopefully everyone got this code. We'll send it to you in an email along with the recording session. But um, if you have anything once you've clicked off here tonight that you want to talk through a little bit more, you have further questions and still considering a few things and weighing options, feel free to reach out to me. And again, our enrollment specialists are also just as knowledgeable about the programs and are excellent to help walk through anything you might need. So I really appreciate all of you taking the time to attend live with me tonight. It's been great. How long should it take to finish the self-paced certification? Yeah, the quickest that you can take the HR certificate right now is 4 months if you're willing to mix and match the modality. So we have 3 out of the 10 that are self-paced. We add more every semester, so it really all depends on course availability. But as the schedule stands right now, if you took the 3 self-paced and you took a few live online, you could finish the certificate in as quick as 4 months. Looking forward to starting the HR. Awesome. Excellent. It's an investment, but it's going to pay off. I mean, the numbers don't lie. So it's definitely going to take you to the next level in your career and increase that ceiling and your opportunities. It's awesome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, Carlos, if you're someone that's like, oh, I only want to take courses in person or I only want to take stuff live online, like you're really stuck on that, totally okay. Everybody prefers what they prefer and their learning style. It will take you a little bit longer just because of what's available in our schedule. But if you're willing to, I like to call it mix and match, which I always am a fan of mixing and matching, then you can knock it out in 4 months. So, all right. Getting quiet in the chat, Michael. I hope I've answered all the questions. But I hope to see you all in class soon for those of you still hanging on. Thanks for coming. And thanks for letting me pick on you. being a good sport. Excellent. I am so glad. I can't wait to see you there. Oh, and the first course is with Nicole Greer. I mentioned her. She's doing a webinar for us next week, but she's a coaching and consultant, and she's out doing all these professional development, speaking engagements, and she's just so vibrant and energetic, and she's like the best person to kick off that first class with. So if you're starting in September with essentials of human resource management, you're going to get Nicole, and you're just in for a treat. She's the best. Good night. Thanks for coming. I'm so glad. Tried to give you, try to be as short and sweet and thorough as possible. And yes, folks, you got to take advantage of your employer support. People, these companies and organizations, they're investing in professional development, and a lot of employees don't take advantage of it like they should. So that's why I always want to say that. And don't forget, we also have those templates on the website. So if you're struggling with how to get that support, or you haven't received the support yet and you want to make that formal request, use the template on our website. Try to make it easy for folks.